Hello and welcome to another TP's Diary video. This video we're going to tackle the interior. This is obviously day 3 of the gearbox conversion on my V12 Jaguar. So yeah, we're gonna get that ski slope out, which is this bit here, and start getting that transmission gear lever out. So I have actually had it all out before when I did the LED light for conversion. So if you haven't seen that video, head to the link below and go and check that one out. So anyway, today's all about doing that. If we have a bit of time, we'll then climb underneath the car and we'll start removing things like the Speedo drive cable, which actually I want to replace because it's making a bit of a noise. But anyway, let's get on with that now. If you watched the last video, which was at the NEC, I'm actually very happy with this. I bought some of this material. This is a little sample of it. And it looks, take my torch here, it's almost identical to what's in the car. Unfortunately, I can't reuse this part. I have to actually make a new one, which is not too much of a problem. And I think I'm going to change these ashtrays. Don't need those, and put some cup holders in because there's nowhere to put any drinks or anything in this car. So right, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get this. I'm going to get the top of the gear lever off, which should just unscrew. However, I think I might have to put a pair of grips on it in order to do it, and I don't really want to damage it. I know it's not going back in this car, but it may go in another car, who knows. So let's just pull that off. Next, put a load of stuff in here. Obviously I'm going to be reusing all of this, so let's just mark it up. So this piece here, I used to have a business that did vacuum forming. So that's what is made. That's what all of this armrest, what's it, little cubbyhole box is made using a vacuum forming process, and it's all a bit cracked. So whoops. So I will I'll endeavour to fix all of that. I'm not going to make another one, but I can actually fix it. I'll work out what material that is, and then I'll fix it. Right, so I want to deal with this wiring. It's already been offside rear switches. One thing I am going to do when I put this all back together is I'm actually going to swap these switches round. Because at the minute I can understand the logic. Obviously the lower ones, if you're looking at the switch like that, they're the front windows, they're the back ones. But actually when you're driving the car, when you're actually sitting here, the top ones should be, I feel. So I'm going to actually swap those round when I come to do it. But for the time being, I can poke that in through the hole. So I need to get that bolt out there. I must have changed that. Now theoretically that should just lift up, which it does. Okay, so let's push you up like that. Just put you back on for the moment. That went like that. That went like that. And that went like that, I think. Okay. So that's that out the way. I actually put this in. So when I did the LEDs, I put this USB charger in. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly look in my Bradley McLean book at the wiring of these switches. Series 2, here we go. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to each one. Is that right? 2, 4, 6. That is correct. So what we should have is GU. There's a green, blue. Okay, so they're all bloody different. Right. Okay, so left-hand front, which is down here. Hang on, no, that one should have red and white. Red and white to the top, which it does not. Okay, that is handy. So what am I going to do here? I'm going to get a notebook. So this is offside rear. It's already been marked because this car has actually been in pieces. Now look at this, interesting. That one's actually come off. Okay, that's why that does not work. That is should be the rear. The rear switch. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make myself a wiring diagram. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'll just take a photograph as I go. You know, because 3 of these have got actually been marked, the other 2 haven't. So let's start with 1. So 1. Right, I've made my little diagram here, and this is switch 1, SW1, and the top one is a green and orange wire. Then we have 2 terminals, and that is red and white. And then the last one red and orange. Okay, so that one there should be marked, which it isn't. So I'm going to mark it as 1. Yeah, mark that. Mark that. SW1. So just got to do that for the rest of them, and then we'll have that little panel out. Okay, so that's the first bit of the wiring out, and yeah, I can now see the cover, but I'm only seeing the back end of the cover. It disappears up under the radio. I was thinking I might be able to get it through here, but actually it requires I'm going to have to take the entire central console out. That's okay, I can get on with that. Which means that can come out now. Did I need to take that off? I think I did. Well, I'm going to keep these bits separate. Okay. Right, so once I've done these bolts, the top of this gaiter, I suppose you'd call it, will come off like that. Next, I think I need to undo the linkage cable. Okay, there's another dip switch on there. So I'm just wondering whether one of those is the reverse light. Let's just have a quick look. Okay, so it is. So this is the reverse light, and this is the starter inhibitor. Now, what I don't know, so this dip switch, what we'll do is we'll put the multimeter on it. So it runs like on a little cam. So neutral, reverse doesn't work. That, yeah, okay. So I would suggest that is when it is closed. So I just literally need to make those two connections, but we're going to check that out now because I want to make sure I've got that 100% right before I disconnect all of that. So right, I'm just going to get my multimeter. 1 second. Right, so I've got my multimeter here. So I think if we hear a bit of a buzz, let's like that. That should be. If it's in, like now, for example, it's in reverse. Yeah. I think the next thing I want to do is how do I remove well, that tells me nothing. There we go. That's how that comes off. Okay, so I've figured that out. So pull the heater knobs off, And then that doesn't need to come out. And then there's a little like screw around the knobs, and if you then unscrew those, then the fascia should, I think, should now pop off. However, it looks to me like the stereo has to come out. Okay, normally with stereos you have to poke just something thin down the side. I used to have some. Let me go and have a look, see if I've still got. Whether or not that stereo now can come out. The old trick still works. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Right, so unplug you. Yeah, so these old stereos, in case you don't know, got a little clip on the side, so if you poke a long blade down the side, then generally it just retracts the clip and you can pull it back. Right. Okay. So, right, so I think the next step is I've got to untake these two screws out here. I've got to be a bit careful because this has got the fibre optics in it. So, yeah, got to be a little careful on that one, which lights all of that lot up. So let's get these screws out, and they're quite big, so okay, so that's loose at that end. At this end there's a couple of screws down there. Remove that. Right, that's the central console. Let's just remove those. Get them all out of the way. Okay, so now we're starting to see, just wondering whether or not I should take that off. Amazingly. Okay, so that actually doesn't need to come all the way out, which is quite nice. That side does. Ooh, there's lots of stuff going on in there. Oh, I see. It actually does, because that's a cover. I'm hoping, right, what I'm hoping for is I'm hoping I'm going to be able to undo this and just quietly just put that down to the side into the footwell. Getting there slowly, slowly but surely. Let me just grab the camera a second. Okay, you can see now where we've got to. So we've taken the center console out. these, you can see, are the bolts for the covers, the cover on the top of the transmission tunnel. So that's what we're aiming for. We've obviously got some wiring to deal with here. That is the reverse. We can take that off, and we can take that one and that one. So those two wires there are for the you know, you can't start the car unless it's in park or neutral, and that is the reverse light. So the red and brown are reverse light, black and blue, so you can't start the car in park or neutral. So I think now the next step is to disconnect the selector cable, and that's interesting. That's the bulb. You can see the LED bulb I put in there. Okay, so let's now get the pliers and disconnect this. I thought that would have come off. It does. Right. Right, this may be, it is, and look at that. The gear lever has been successfully removed. Wow, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so you can see those switches. So that is the dip switch, so that stops the car from starting. That is the reverse lamp switch. I don't know if I'm going to have to use that again. I don't think I do. And that is the gear positioning bulb. Right, so next I want to undo all of these bolts and take that cover off, and that theoretically should be the end of the dismantling inside. Fingers crossed. Stand by. Right. Okay, so now we should take this out, and that's the cover, and there's the top of the transmission. And that is the speedo drive. Look at that. It's actually cleaner on the outside than it is on the inside. How's that possible? That doesn't look, it looks all sort of offset to me. Look at that. I'm assuming the new one's going to be the same. Yeah, so again, in my true style, I couldn't help but get the new cover in. A bit of wiring needs to be pushed back up in there. But yeah, I mean, it all seems to look like it will fit. Things like that you can screw into the cover here. So yeah, looks like that will all fit in rather nicely. So we can just pull that out now. So righto, let's get on and get that cable out. So this cable here needs to come off. That's the kick down solenoid there. Let's undo. That is that end undone. Okay. Okay. I think we get that from the top, typically. I wonder if I'm going to be able to do this. Yes. Okay, so not quite as straightforward as I thought. Yeah, I thought I'd just be able to pull this through, and I can't. There's a little cover that's on the side of the transmission tunnel, which makes sense, you know. So when we have a manual gearbox, I don't need that cover anymore. So I just need to make up probably a plate to put over it. I don't know why I thought I'd get away with just pulling it out, but yeah, slightly boring because I think I'm going to have to take the passenger seat out in order to get to it. So anyway, let's get back up to the top now. And if we do, we've got to get that seat out. So let's do it. So these seats, they have a little bracket on the front of the swab, which I've actually taken out. It's a bit tricky to film, and they just then lift off. Now, the question is, do I need to take the whole seat out, or can I get to the little bracket without having to do that? And the bracket is just there. Tiniest little screw you've ever seen. Right. Okay, so that is everything now disconnected and dismantled inside the car. I've literally got the oil cooler lines to disconnect from the gearbox, remove the dipstick, and then it's pretty much ready to take it out. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please hit that like button, do subscribe, and there's going to be more videos coming very soon.